Stinchfield, the podcast. Blind liberal zombies. Yes, that's what so many Americans are. What is it about being infected with the woke zombie disease that literally you lose all ability to critically think? You know, there is a push in America to pay reparations, okay? White people who never owned slaves to give money to black people who never were a slave or who never knew anybody who was a slave, by the way. Lunacy, all right? Why would you punish one group of people for the ills of others that they had nothing to do with? Why would you reward somebody for the horrible circumstances another group of people had to go through that you had nothing to do with as well? Again, this is about separating classes. It's about sowing division and chaos. I'm going to prove to you that the blind liberal zombie is very real in America. And we're going to prove to you that when they are exposed, they even realize it themselves. I came across a video on Instagram about asking people, are they ready to pay reparations? And then they brought a black guy in. Okay, well, we'll take cash. We'll wait till you see what the responses were. We'll talk about that. We'll go through the media and the state of the media today. One of the co-founders of Axios, no conservative outlet, by the way, really had an insightful view on the downfall of the mainstream media. As someone who worked for NBC for over 20 years, I will weigh in on what he had to say about all of that. And then we've got drag shows in Naples, and we've got mass graves in Mexico. All horrible, okay? And we're going to wait till you see these mass graves. This could be coming to a city near you. They're dealing with this just over the Mexican border. This is cartel activity, literally people in town being killed and then being forced to look for their loved ones' bodies buried in very shallow graves. Our own Oscar Ramirez had found some of these graves, and it's heart-wrenching to watch what he found. All right, let's get the show started.
Uncensored and unapologetic. This is Stinchfield. Here's your host, Grant Stinchfield.
All right, welcome, everybody. So what would I tell you if somebody came up to you and said, hey, do you believe in reparations? Now, I know that you watching on this platform, and thank you for watching, by the way, hit the like button, subscribe button, and share this with your friends while I'm mentioning all this. I know you would say, I'm not paying reparations. This is literally, it's not about rewarding black folks, by the way. This is about sowing division and chaos in America. They want a race war in this country. That's what the left wants. That's what reparations are about. You think I'm going to pay money to somebody that was never a slave to reward them somehow for what their ancestors went through? No. And by the way, my ancestors never owned slaves. Not that I know of. I'm from the North. My name's Grant, okay? Grant's the guy that went down and saved everybody during the Civil War. So I'm not giving money up for reparations. But what happened when these blind liberal zombies were asked about it? Watch this.
Do you support reparations for black people because they went through slavery?
Yes, I do, actually.
Perfect. So we have Joel here, and you can pay your reparations right now.
Okay.
How much?
Okay, he says. So Joel, the black man, is right there ready to take donations for reparations. He says, okay.
Do you want?
What is the suffering of my ancestors worth?
More than I can pay right now.
So do you want to set up like a payment plan?
No, but I do believe it's the responsibility of our government to take more action.
So our government, who the hell is our government? That's you, by the way, buckaroo. That's you. It's your taxpayers. That's the government. So do you want to set up a payment plan? No, he doesn't want to set up a payment plan. And he knows he doesn't want it. But he's so concerned about what everybody else will think and where he is. So now he's pulling out his wallet, and all because of blind liberal zombie peer pressure.
All right, pay up.
How much does he put in there?
Oh.
Change?
Thank you for paying for the crimes of your ancestors. You
You're
have
welcome.
been forgiven.
I don't know.
Change? So the guy feels so strongly about paying reparations, and he dropped change there. I don't even know who carries around coins. much less carries around coins in your wallet. Okay? I told my son, he's 16 years old, I'm trying to raise men here. Use a money clip, son. Use a money clip, not a wallet. All right? Most men don't carry wallets around. They carry a money clip around, and if they have a wallet, it's just a little tiny one for credit cards. All right? Don't pull one of those big thick things out of your pocket. It's ridiculous. Money clips are wear it out, but I'm half Italian, so of course. Well, if I was really full Italian, I'd probably just use a rubber band with my stash of hundies. Anyway, he puts change in there that he keeps in his wallet. That tells you all you need to know about where he is on the political spectrum. Here's another young lady.
How you would go about doing that?
Well, I have the answer. We have Joel Patrick here today, and he has his reparations jar. And you can pay for the crime. What other forms of payment do you accept?
We accept Venmo. We accept PayPal.
Oh. Well, I do not have Venmo. I do not have PayPal. And I am broke.
Broke, like most liberals, by the way. Probably living off her parents, going to school, which there's nothing wrong with that. But in the end, hard work pays off. So she wants reparations for black folks, but she has no money to pay them. So when you're responsible as a taxpayer, how's that going to work out for you, honey? You want taxpayers to pay, but you don't have anything to offer up. So you're asking me. I'm the rich white guy. Now, in the eyes of most liberals, I am the rich white guy. I don't think I make the top 1%. I don't think. But according to them, I'm the guy they want paying. I'm not paying. You pay. All right?
But you would pay if you could.
Yeah, but I don't understand why you're collecting money for it.
Because I'm a black person and my ancestors were slaves.
Yeah, but it's like I don't understand what a monetary.
Have you ever owned slaves?
No, but I do not.
Have I ever been a slave?
No.
So how much money do you owe me?
Nothing.
Ding, ding, ding.
I mean, do you see when they are exposed? It's hilarious. So a similar situation happened with a leftist city councilwoman named Nithya Raman. She is in Los Angeles. Now, the reason I play this interaction between Los Angeles residents and Nithya Raman that got approached by her, by the way, too, she's like a wealthy wife of a big producer. I think her husband was a producer of Modern Family. I think that's the case. Anyway, she gets confronted. Now, I'm going to remind you, if you don't know, I do morning drive radio in Los Angeles, so I know a lot about LA. I'm out there a lot, too. It's a dump. Now, Nathan Hochman, the new district attorney, is trying to clean it up. He's prosecuting crime again. I think they'll get the crime problem under control as much as they can for any big city, I think. But there's garbage everywhere. It's freaking dirty. You have homeless, not just homeless lying on the streets. They're defecating on the streets. You got homeless peeing in corners. It's a disgusting place. And LA used to be a beautiful city. Used to want to go down to, Santa Monica, go down to the pier, walk around. It's gross. Everywhere is gross now, just about, unless you go down to Huntington Beach or into Orange County. My favorite's Dana Point. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about L.A., baby. Well, watch what happens when she gets confronted.
Right? But the budget deficit is enormous. It's symbolic.
A lot of the money.
Every road in this town is broken. Every road is broken. Do you know that? Do you see this? That's why I'm fighting for the transportation dollars. That's why you're spending $1 billion giving money to drug addicts who are buying drugs with the money, and you know that. Well, yes.
Nithya, we have money that's not accounted for.
You know what? I'm just going to listen because I feel like you want me to listen, so I'm going to listen.
This is a question. Two questions.
Because every time I try and answer your question.
No, I'm happy, but you're giving evasive answers.
I'm not giving evasive answers at all.
5%, 30%.
I don't. Sorry. This is.
I mean, it's a direct question. You can give a direct answer, but now you're avoiding me.
No, I'm not.
Well, she doesn't want to answer. She doesn't want to answer the questions. He's talking about how are you raising property taxes? Every road has holes in it. They're not taking care of the infrastructure in LA. Remember, the fires, the water in the fire hydrants were missing. You got a reservoir with no water in it. A fire department and the firehouses are falling apart. You want more money in taxes? She won't answer the question. Now, I will give her credit for this. She did something that most politicians don't do. She said, I'll just listen. In many respects, that's all people want, is they want to know that they have been heard. Now, when she says, I'll just listen, I think she was using it as a get out, and I'm not sure she would have listened to them. But in fact, when she says, I'll just listen, she then doesn't listen.
I try and answer your question. I'm happy, but you're giving evasive answers.
I'm not giving evasive answers at all.
5%, 30%.
I don't. Sorry, this is.
I mean, it's a direct question.
Okay,
you can give a direct answer, but now.
Yeah, she can't give a direct answer on anything. So these are frustrated people in LA that see the downfall of their city. This same clip could be played in any blue city across America. Go to New York. Heck, I broadcast from Dallas. We're a little better than most blue cities, but Dallas is a blue city. The city council here is Democrat. And so this could be in this city. I'm glad she was willing to listen, but the frustration of Democrats is now on display. The frustration of people who live in Democrat cities. I don't even know if those guys are conservative or Republicans. I don't know. This wasn't at some event. This was outside. Those guys, most likely, in my guess, are probably Democrats who are fed up in LA. That's what I would assume anyway. All right, I want to get into the mainstream media because the mainstream media drives a lot of this narrative, from the reparations narrative to let's just give everybody everything. We'll raise taxes on the rich and take care of everybody, free health care for illegals, blah, 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 blah. This all comes from the media. When was the downfall of the media? Well, the founder of Axios was speaking out on this. I would assume the guy's a liberal. Axios is certainly not a conservative outlet. Very damaging to conservatives, President Trump. But what he said was fascinating. So I'm gonna play that for you in just a moment. But before I do, well, folks, I want to tell you about Patriot Mobile. You know, I have a Patriot Mobile phone. I'm so happy with it. Patriot Mobile is all about supporting the programs, causes, charities that believe in the things we believe in. Why would you be giving money to the big three woke cell phone companies that literally practice DEI policies inside their corporate structure? They literally fund places like Planned Parenthood, when you could be with Patriot Mobile, that's supporting our veterans, that's protecting our gun rights, that is literally taking the fight when it comes to free speech to the left, putting "In God We Trust" signs in schools. And for this, the media comes after them so hard. Patriot Mobile. I urge you to get a Patriot Mobile phone. Hey, I got a Patriot One plan. One phone, two lines, two different networks. So in an emergency, one network's down, I got it covered. PatriotMobile.com/Grant. PatriotMobile.com/Grant. That's where I want you to go. Use the promo code GRANT for a free month service. And I promise you, you are not going to regret it. You can call them at 972-PATRIOT. 972-PATRIOT. And you tell them Grant Stinchfield sent you. All right. So the founder of Axios comes out and he talks about the downfall of journalism. Let's go through some of this.
I feel like the trust really started to shatter over the last decade. And I look at it as in three phases. The first was the creation of Twitter. What happened with Twitter is people forget, like now it's a lot of conservative voices, a lot of independent voices. It was a hotbed of liberal groupthink for a long time. And it was the first time since I've been in this business that I would get on a feed and I would see reporters who I had trusted, who I had admired, making it crystal clear what their views were.
All right, so let me just comment on this. I believe Twitter was a hotbed of liberalism, but I also believe it was a hotbed of conservatism when Twitter was free, before it became not free. And then before, of course, Elon Musk takes over to re-free it. It was a cesspool, Twitter. Anything goes, and that's when Twitter was really at its best. I liked it best when there were liberals on the platform. So he was getting the liberal feed because that's what he was looking at. I would get the conservative feed, and I would get liberal trolls coming in on there. You still get some of that on Twitter now, X as it's called. But when it was the Wild West, that's when I liked it best. Now, what's interesting is the reason he was seeing reporters that he knew was because the reporters were on that same feed. Their viewing habits was telling the algorithm, show them more liberal stuff. And lo and behold, what are they doing? They're liking and commenting. And I'm sure that's what he's going to say.
What side they were on. You could tell in what they were tweeting, and you could tell in who they were following and who was following them. So I thought that was stage one, because at least before any bias people had, they hid from the public. Now it was in somewhat full view.
So when I worked in mainstream media and I left in, what was it? I left in 2011, okay? I left mainstream television, NBC owned and operated stations groups. He is right. For the most part, people either in the beginning years didn't talk about where they were, what they do. But towards the end, 2009, 10, 11, boy, there were some wild battles I would get in the newsroom over issues like Obamacare, the recession. And you could tell instantly where people were, but I do think they tried to keep their political bias in check on sites like Twitter. That most certainly did change, and it changed first, I think, at a national level. I think where you had national anchors and reporters, and the national anchors really turned out to be commentators. So that Jake Tapper isn't an anchor man, a newsman. He's a commentator disguised as a newsman.
Then came along kind of the COVID, defund the police, word policing, where I think a lot of Americans were looking around and be like, that just doesn't sit right with me. And it doesn't, and the way it's being covered didn't sit right with them. And then I think the final straw really was the coverage of Joe Biden, when people were saying, hey, I can see with my own two eyes that the guy seems pretty old, probably doesn't seem capable of being the president in the next term, and yet there's not a whole hell of a lot of coverage of it. Alex Thompson, our White House reporter, just won the White House Reporting Award because he was one of the few reporters to write about the decline of Joe Biden.
He may have written about the decline of Joe Biden, but Alex Thompson, the man he's talking about, is no real reporter. That guy hates guns. I believe he used to work for Media Matters, which is an awful organization. They're trolls. They're leftist lunatics. And Alex Thompson wrote all kinds of things about me when I was at Newsmax and the NRA. That guy was not any kind of a fair and balanced journalist. So I love that he thinks that he is, because he owns Axios. He probably thinks Axios is fair and balanced. It's not. But I will tell you, when you're going back to the defund the police, he didn't mention Black Lives Matter. Yeah, you think we were upset with the way things were covered? A mostly peaceful protest while an AutoZone's burning behind you? Yeah, we were upset about it.
And he got the hell kicked out. Exactly. Some of the very reporters who may have, who will applaud him when he wins the award in a couple of weeks. If you go back and look at their Twitter feeds, there's a lot of people dunking on him and saying, oh, that's not actually true. And we're on the other ends of the calls from the White House saying that you guys are out on a limb, you're wrong, you're crazy, blah, blah, blah. And so I think those three things in totality really cemented the distrust that a lot of people have in media. And it breaks my heart. I hate that. I love journalism. I am a fierce defender of journalism. I believe that most reporters at most institutions actually do try to get to the closest approximation of the truth and achieve it most of the time. I think it's a couple of bad apples who make it look bad for everyone.
Well, I think that he's correct that there are bad apples, but he's wrong about a few. There's an awful lot when it comes to the mainstream media. Why is it that the mainstream media gets leftist lunatics more than any other industry? I mean, why do these leftists all go into journalism? One, I think you get a lot of people that if they didn't go into journalism, they would have gone into the nonprofit world. There's no real quest to make money. only the people at the top of their game, okay, the very top make, I would say, a decent living to an exorbitant living, depending on how big at the top. You know, if you're Jesse Waters or Bill O'Reilly or Laura Ingraham or Sean Hannity, you're making multi-millions. But if you're take a guy like me, I make a very good living in the scheme of things, but I don't make that kind of money. Okay, but I make a very good living. I have everything I need and most of what I want, which to me is a good sign of success, right? But most people don't make a lot of money. You know, a newspaper reporter, what are they going to make in a medium-sized town? $50,000 a year? It's not a lot of money to raise a family on. And so you go in to be a local TV reporter. At the height of my local TV career, I made $145,000 a year. And that was back in 2011. A decent living. You know, what would that be today? Maybe a couple $100,000, a decent living, but not getting wealthy off of it. And I was at the top of the game. I was in a top 10 market in Dallas. And everybody hired in underneath me was coming in a way less than that. So you get people that aren't entrepreneurship oriented, that would have gone into nonprofits. They think they have to give those who don't have a voice, and that's a noble, noble cause and goal, to give the voiceless a voice. The problem is what they were picking and choosing is the voiceless. And they weren't realizing that many people that didn't have a voice because of their own choices. And so who are you defending? The people that are really down and out because they've been exploited? Or are you defending the people that are just happen to be, I don't want to say lazy, because I will say you grow up in the hood. You're a burgeoning underclass that's very difficult to beat that system. You could be one of the most go-getters out there and still not beat that system unless you have help around you. So I don't want to say that. But there is certain things, what's by choice and what's not by choice. So you get this flood of the nonprofit crowd going into journalism, and you get the people that are more conservative, free market-based, going and trying to make a living and make a name for themselves, working for an investment bank or going out there and doing other things like that. So I think that was part of the problem, why you get so many liberals into journalism, and then it just spirals out of control because they get in young, and then the liberals who are running these news organizations are indoctrinating these 21, 22-year-old journalists and not teaching them real journalism. They're teaching them indoctrination. All of that is absolutely, categorically the wrong way to go about running a newsroom. It really is. All right. Hey, I'm going to play, just to take a little break before I get into something too deep here. I want to tell you about my friends over at Energized Health. I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life, and I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life for a reason. The folks at Energized Health. I lost 15 pounds in 2 weeks when I started that protocol, and it was not hard. Okay, this is not about supplements. It's not about shakes. It's not about crazy workouts. It's not even about crazy diets. It's a total protocol where you take some of all of those things and you put them together and you get a system that's pretty darn easy to start dropping body fat, okay? What you want to do is build muscle mass. And I don't care what age you are, Energized Health has helped people in their 70s, 80s, even 90s get in better shape. So if you want to tone up, if you want to take back control of your life, if you want to get your body and mind and soul where you want it to be, Energized Health is it. It's about really making sure you live longer by getting on this protocol. You stick with it, and it's not easy. You will be successful. They got a 99% success rate, money back guarantee. EnergizedHealth.com. I mean it. Sign up with them. If you're even thinking about it, or if you've been watching this commercial, today is the day you got to just do it. EnergizedHealth.com. Tell them Grant Stinchfield sent you. All right, I saw something funny. This is Shannon Sharp. I want you to see who he's interviewing here. Dave Portnoy. Dave Portnoy seems like an interesting guy. I typically, if you're from Massachusetts, do not take this as an offense. I grew up in New York. I'm a Yankee fan. I typically don't like Boston sports fans. I only don't like them on the surface, but I think they're very brash, and Portnoy falls into this category to me. So I often am annoyed by him. But the reality is he seems like a pretty decent guy with all the things he did for small business during COVID, with all the things that he continues to do in a charitable function. I want you to listen to this, and you tell me if you do this too, if you get divorced or are divorced.
Hold on. Is it true your ex-wife have access to your bank account?
Yeah. I told you I trust her implicitly.
I beg your pardon?
Implicitly. I trust her. If she wanted to take it, she could.
His ex-wife has access to his bank account. Now, this guy makes millions and millions and millions of dollars, okay? He is very, very successful. I would venture to say tens of millions of dollars. His ex-wife has access to the bank. Look, my ex-wife is great. I often say she's the best ex-wife a guy could ever ask for. Maybe she gets beat by Portnoy's ex-wife. But she ain't having access to my bank account.
There's very few people that you meet where you can trust implicitly. And to be honest, she was there when we were living at the in-laws' house. She was there when we couldn't afford a hamburger. She was there through the grind. She, to me, just like we kind of separated when we started making it.
Right.
So she doesn't get to enjoy any of that.
Right.
To me, that's not right.
Wow.
So it's interesting because he says his wife was there from the beginning. And I do think when you have someone that's there for the beginning, and you, even if it's just the husband who builds this business, but she's raising kids and keeping the house together and being a steady rock for you from the very, very start, I do believe the wife is entitled to something when they get divorced. They played a role in that success. Now, you get married, you're already successful, and you get some Twinkie comes in, and she's there for 2 years, and you get divorced. She has no right to any of your money. And I would hope that you would sign a prenuptial agreement on that. I would hope.
I'm a loyalty guy.
You are a boy. You loyal to the song for real.
Yeah.
I don't know too many people doing that.
I know it surprises people, but she could have. If she wanted to do something with it, she
Right.
could have done with it a long time ago.
If your ex-wife, is she married?
She's dating somebody, boyfriend.
Are you cool with that?
Yeah, I want her to be happy. It's true.
Well, then
friendship.
she can't get no more access, Dave. She got to cut off, cut her low.
I won't even notice if it's gone.
You mean to tell me she might?
I mean, if she takes it all.
No. But she might take like, you know what? I'm gonna have this extravagant wedding. I'm gonna spend $500,000 on a wedding. You cool with?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. So I don't care how much money I have. I'm not paying for my ex-wife's wedding. Now I might give her a nice gift. I might even show up if I'm invited. I wasn't, by the way. She's remarried and I love her husband. He's a great guy. You know what? The best thing you could ask for your ex-wife's new husband is that he's good to your kid. And my ex-wife's new husband is really good to my kid. He's a good dude. He helps me out all the time, driving the kid to school. My ex-wife and I, Wyatt is my son. He's 16. His mom, we basically co-parent. She doesn't live far from here. Drop him off. She'll bring him over to let the dog out if I'm held up doing something, usually playing cards or something on a Saturday afternoon. But she's great and he's great. But $500,000 for a wedding? No, sir.
100%. 100%.
Lord have mercy. What did you learn during that marriage about yourself?
She's still my best friend. Like, we get along
better as friends than in
yeah,
a relationship.
Yeah, but she was with me at the beginning of this company. And, like, if
she was with. So, look, God bless him. And I guess when you have that much money, it's easy to be generous, right? It's harder to be generous when you don't have as much money. I like to do generous things for strangers. That's not that I do it all the time. But every now and then I will. I'll buy something. I'll buy somebody something at the store or buy a coffee for. I often like to buy law enforcement coffee or lunch or dinner when I see them out. I'll give you an example. And I didn't get to do it, but I was pulling into a spot at the gas station, and there was another woman pulling in at the same time in kind of a beat up old Honda Civic. She backed out and let me take the spot. Well, the gas station was really crowded. I was so grateful. I got out of my car and went to walk to find her. I was going to pay for her gas, and I couldn't find her. I think she ended up going to another gas station because all the spots were taken. But those are the kind of things I like to do. I don't do it a lot, but every now and then. Homeless people, you know what I often do? Instead of giving them money, if there's something about the homeless person that's likable, and it has to be likable, I will often say, come into the 7-Eleven, come into the convenience store, anything you want on me, sky's the limit, no budget. And they look at me like I'm crazy. No budget, I can get anything I want. Anything you want. You would expect them to get a grocery cart and fill up, right? Nope. Get a couple donuts. They'll ask me, can I get a pack of cigarettes? I said, I told you, anything you want. Can I get a 40 ounce? Absolutely. And people always tell me, oh, Grant, why would you buy them alcohol? This is because it's none of my freaking business. That's why. You're a grown adult. If I'm going to make a decision to give you something, then it's up to you to spend that money however you want to spend it. My gift to you was you get to buy anything in the store. You're a grown adult, buy whatever you want. I'm not going to tell you not to drink. I'm not even going to tell you not to be homeless if that's what you want to do. It's it is my problem when it takes over the city. But in that immediate moment, that's your problem, not mine. I'm here to help you if you want it. But if you don't, I'm sorry you're in a position where you are, but only you can get you out of it. And here's the other secret. There's plenty of places for homeless people to go. The reality is many of them don't want to abide by the rules. They don't want to go to the church that the shelter may require on a daily basis. They don't want to abide by the curfews. They don't want to abide by the no drugs and alcohol policies. So they'd rather live on the street. Anyway, if they're an interesting character and a nice guy or a gal, anything they want, and I haven't done that in a while. I need to do that again because it is actually fun. I can get a pack of cigarettes. Yeah. Do you know what the bill comes out to be? Bar none. Like always between $20 and $30. It's never that much. So maybe now with Biden inflation, it's a little bit more. It's been over a year since I've done that. But that's what I like about generosity. What got me thinking about this is Portnoy, and I see all these videos of Shaq, the great basketball legend, who is a huge businessman himself. I think he's a billionaire now. He buys kids bikes at Walmart. He's just blessing people all the time. And it would be great if I had all kinds of money. I think I would like to think that I would bless more people if I could. That's the kind of person that I would like to be. All right, folks, do you know about my friends over at the wellness company? twc.health/grant. These are the prescription drug medical kits. There's also that parasite kit. I tell you about 80 million people with parasites eating away at your gut. If you feel bloated, tired, fatigued, get the parasite cleanse. But before that, ivermectin in here in this kit. You got a Z-Pak in here. You got amoxicillin in here. The most common antibiotics, antivirals, antiparasitics. There's a guidebook in here to help you with all this. All prescription drugs made out to you. God forbid, power outage, cyber attack, drugstores closed down, terrorist attack, natural disasters. If you don't have drugs and you need them, you're not ready. You're not prepped. I also have the great field kit as well, just a bigger version. There's an EpiPen in here. This kit is awesome. So twc.health/grant. Use the promo code GRANT for 10% off. I urge you, get one of those kits. Be ready, man. If you don't, can you imagine you were watching this and something happens and you need prescription medications for your kids right away, and you're like, man, I should have bought it? It could save a life. It really could. I'm not over-exaggerating on all of that. All right, let me play for you a clip that I did on Real America's Voice. And the reason I play this is about drag shows. The drag show stuff is very real, and it's about grooming. Watch. Something that may shock you. I think, like the Democrat Party, drag shows have gotten more radical, more extreme, more sexualized, okay? And now I believe there's no place for children at these things. Not the way they have gone over the top with this. Well, the city of Naples, Florida, which used to be a very conservative city, apparently there's been a fight over a drag parade, okay? It got shut down. A judge overturned it. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, but I want you to listen to what the residents think about this. Some of them, anyway.
I think the more that we can put drag out in public, the more that we can show that there are so many different sides to drag as a form of expression. You know, there's not just the sexualized shows that people see that are adult-oriented. There's also a lot of wonderful events and shows that can be put on that include younger age groups.
Even if you want to give her the benefit of the doubt, has she ever seen a drag parade when they're marching down the street in most cities in America? It is about as sexualized as it gets, with all kinds of things that I don't want my children, especially young children, looking at. Well, there was another Naples neighbor who had a little more common sense about it all.
The Attorney General's vow to stop the decision at all costs is not only legally inappropriate, it's a threat to constitutional freedoms. We should be alarmed when public officials pledge to override the First Amendment and a respectable judge's opinion for their own political gain.
All right, I don't want to hear her. I wanted to hear the other lady. That's my fault, though, not the guys behind the glass. I want to hear a lady that says, you know what, put it inside. Let him go do that there where the kids don't have to see it. So they took the fight to the city council, where John Strand, you may recognize him, he's a familiar face, former J6 political prisoner, took the microphone. Listen.
The fact that Naples Pride specifically refused to accept a permit without unfettered access to young kids tells you everything. These are groomers targeting impressionable children. It's reprehensible. It's an outrage. And now we are at a crossroads.
All right, so I don't think all of them are groomers. I think some of them are just totally radically confused. But I do think some of them are groomers. And even one of them being a groomer, keep them away from our children. It really should be that simple. I want to bring in now Naples, Florida resident, J6 political prisoner, creative director at America's Frontline Doctors, and fighter for the children, my buddy John Strand is here. John, it's good to see you. Welcome back.
Great. Thanks for having me on, as always.
All right, so where does this stand? The parade going through?
Not if we have anything to say about it. The current status is this, Grant. The Naples City Council made the very common sense decision to grant a conditional permit to this entity called Naples Pride. And I'm putting that in air quotes for a reason. But they want to have unfettered access to kids to display very sexually explicit material, drag show and otherwise, as part of their festivities in a public park with a playground. So the Naples City Council said that's inappropriate, which of course it is. So a conditional permit requires them to hold the drag show at an indoor venue restricted from minors, from those under the age of 18. That sounds pretty reasonable and common sense to me, right? And that's what the rest of the residents of Naples widely supported. So that was passed. Then an outside group targeting Naples and targeting Naples children put money in to file a federal lawsuit claiming this was a violation of their First Amendment rights of free speech. But let's be very clear. Sexually explicit performances are not First Amendment protected expression. They are lewd and lascivious behavior, which is a violation of existing law. We have law on the books all over the place banning lewd behavior in public. We have a specific statute in Florida that prohibits this, and it's a violation of that law, not of the First Amendment.
Let me ask you this question. Have they had a parade like this before in Naples?
This Naples entity, Naples Pride entity, has previously had this drag show, and it has been previously restricted indoors and prohibited from minors, which they previously accepted. But then they got ACLU money, spending money, to go file a frivolous lawsuit and cause havoc. And now they've got a leftist judge, a woke judge, trying to interpret this as free expression rather than understanding it's lewd and lascivious behavior.
The reason I ask you, there's got to be some video from the other events. I'm sure there's lewd and lascivious behavior. Every one of these parades, I've seen that kind of behavior. And there's a legal term called a reasonable person would think. So what would a reasonable person suspect would happen? You would suspect that there would be the same type of behavior, especially if you had video of it from of another year. So now you've got this fight. So the judge order, it's going to take place, and then you gotta fight that, or where do you go?
So I went back to the Naples City Council and spoke to them, encouraging them to appeal this decision. And the Naples City Council did the right thing. They voted unanimously to appeal and seek an emergency stay of the preliminary injunction that the federal district judge ordered. And the city of Naples and decent people everywhere will continue to rally behind them and insist that we protect the children from sexually explicit content in public parks. That's just not appropriate, and every decent person knows this. It's common sense. And also, Grant, that it's really important we understand, like you said, some of these folks in the alphabet mafia group, as I call them, driving this ideology. It's radical sexual ideology, and some of them are groomers. And that's a real issue. We bring this to people's attention at medicalmutilation.org. I really suggest people to consider that. But also those who are simply confused and are not necessarily grooming, it does not change the fact, nor does it excuse the danger of grooming activities that confuse children.
Right.
Cross-dressing men acting in sexual mannerisms in public is confusing for children. No matter what anyone else's intent is or opinion about it, it's confusing and it's dangerous. It's dangerous to kids, and we can't allow that.
And you still have people bringing them into their kindergarten classes. It just amazes me. Like nothing's bringing a wolf to the hen house. It really is. Well, the reason I profile this story, John Strand, is one, you continue to fight. You know, what you went through, for everybody at home that doesn't know John's story, what he went through, locked up, thrown in solitary for simply and basically what amounted to an unorganized tour of the Capitol. And then to come out and continue the fight, John, you're not afraid of anything. And America needs more people like you. And I appreciate everything you're doing to keep us safe and free.
Thank you, Grant. Always appreciate you. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
Amen to that. I mean, that guy, by the way, is great. John Strand is an amazing, amazing individual. What he endured on J6 being thrown into solitary confinement. You know, he was Simone Gold's bodyguard. They were scheduled to speak at the Capitol on January 6th. They got basically pushed inside by the crowds. They had a permit to speak there. He's on video. No destruction, no anger towards police, nothing. And they threw the book at him. Why? Because he was a vocal, smart conservative. And they wanted to make whatever. They wanted him to send a message by putting him in jail and send a message to all of us. So, but he survived and he got out and he's still fighting. And God bless him that he is still fighting the way he does. Folks, I just read a report that shows Americans in record numbers are outliving their retirement savings. That puts you in a very precarious situation. Why is this happening? It's because the retirement strategies that most people are using are the same tired old strategies from the 1970s. What happens? Financial advisors get risk. The retirement companies get rich, but it often leaves you and your savings positioned very poorly. Companies like BlackRock and Vanguard keep getting bigger and bigger while your retirement savings struggle to keep up with the rising cost of everything today. It doesn't have to be this way. My great friends at Augusta Precious Metals have put together an important report tailored just for my audience. Many of you have over $50,000 in a retirement account, whether it's an IRA, 401k, or a TSP, which means you need to get your hands on this concise but powerful 2-minute report about how to take full control of your retirement and financial future. Here's what I want you to do. Visit grantlovesgold.com. That's grantlovesgold.com, or text Grant to 35052. Do it today. You'll get instant access to this 2-minute report. In it, you'll learn one step that you can take that will open the doors to a modern way to protect and grow your retirement. It uses the same strategies the wealthy use to protect their portfolios. Look, even companies like BlackRock and Vanguard are using these strategies themselves without sharing them with their clients. Well, now you can start taking advantage of them as well. So if you have over $50,000 in your retirement accounts, you need to contact my friends at Augusta Precious Metals. Visit grantlovesgold.com. That's grantlovesgold.com, or text Grant to 35052. Do it today. Your future self will thank you. It says everything you need to know about President Trump, who he is, how detail-oriented he is, how kind he is, how respectful he is, and how he appreciates good work. Okay? Does that tease the clip well enough? Watch.
Okay. Beautiful. Oh.
All right, for those of you listening and not watching, it's President Trump getting set up for a shot. And he's looking at himself in the monitor. And there's a table with a glass next to him, and he's looking and he's fixing his jacket. And then watch how it unfolds.
I don't think you want to have the water in the picture, right? You can take it over. Yeah, put it over there, Nick.
I'm on this table as well.
Yeah, might as well take the table.
How are you, sir?
Oh, good, very good, thank you. You know what you can do, Nick? Put the table back, because it's missing something. Put the table back and put the water on the table without the thing on top of it.
So he's talking about a napkin. It was under the water glass.
Okay.
Puts it back with the
How's
napkin.
that look? Go ahead, take it out. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, good.
Right? Let's go.
That's his attention to detail. The man is unbelievable, quite frankly. He really, really is. And how respectful is he through that whole process, setting up the camera shot? It tells you everything you need to know about President Trump. I told you, too, before I let you go, that I would tell you about these mass graves. I interviewed Oscar Ramirez about them on the Real America's Voice show. He found mass graves in Tijuana. Crazy, crazy stuff. Our own Oscar Ramirez has found what appears to be mass graves, dumping grounds from the cartel's victims. You see on your video, some of them we have to blur out. Bodies, skulls. One, a skull with a bullet still left in the head. And apparently there are just too many of these to count. I want to bring in now from Tijuana, Mexico, Real America's Voice correspondent Oscar Ramirez is with us. Oscar, welcome to the program.
Grant, it's always an honor to be with you.
Oscar, how did you manage to find these mass graves?
Well, those are collective groups. Those are citizens. And Grant, believe it or not, these people are the ones that with the shovel and with the permission of the military to accompany them to be secure, because other than that, the cartel will ambush them, kidnap them, and also disappear them. So these are family members that they can form a collective group so they can search for their family members in neighborhoods that they are predominantly completely controlled by the cartel. We were one of them, as you show right here in the image, a part of a skull that it had a bullet right there in the top part, and also his other parts of the body were basically buried on that. That premises right there, Grant, was 8 bodies that they were found on that premises in less than a week. So it's brutal. This is the number one reason why the cartels need to be labeled immediately as terrorists.
So I want you to consider this. They are labeled as terrorists now, foreign terrorist organization. That is just south of the border in Tijuana. You've got 8 bodies found there. You have locals going to dig up these makeshift graves to try to find loved ones they believe were killed by the cartels. Now, why should Americans worry about this? This is to just the south of our border. These are the people that are bringing people into the United States. These are the very people that are using tunnels to come into the United States. I believe these cartel members are coming back and forth into Mexico and the United States, sneaking in and wreaking havoc on our society. This is why they need to be wiped out, and that's why the fight needs to be taken to them. That's going to do it for us today. I so appreciate all of you watching. Stinchfield's Army rolls because of you. We'll see you on the Real America's Voice show tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Anywhere you get a streaming, Roku, Pluto, Apple TV. You can download the app on the website, RealAmericasVoice.com. Tell your friends, tell your family. That show is taking off like wildfire, and so is this podcast, thanks to you.